Hey there, family and friends. Hope you're all doing well and welcome to my kitchen. Today I thought we'd dip into my recipe box and come out with an appetizer that I've been making since 2004. It's called Kalamata Caviar. It's a really fun and easy appetizer to serve your guests or just make on any day that you feel like it. It's basically Kalamata olives, some cheese, some pecans, and some garlic. You whip it all up with a little olive oil and you've got a really great spread for crackers or maybe a baguette. The recipe says crackers, falafel, chips, or bread. Not so sure about the chips, but I usually serve it on a Cars cracker or with some nice sliced baguette. So let's get started, and I'll just give you some quick tips. Like I said, it is easy, and I will share, as always, a recipe card with you at the end of the video and linked in the description. Let's start with the pecans. It calls for chopped pecans, 1/2 cup. If you have pecan halves like I have, you can put those in the food processor first and buzz them up to chop them up before you add the other ingredients, which is what we're going to do. It also calls for the recipe 2 to 4 garlic cloves. Since this is going to be just a spread, and everything in here is going to be raw, I always go on the low side. I'll have one nice pretty large clove today, so to me that's equivalent to 2. You can do a little less. If you like raw garlic, you could do a little more. I wouldn't honestly go for, I've done it that way and the garlic has been so overpowering. So that is one addendum to the recipe that I'll warn you about. When I put it in the food processor, I sort of just cut it up and give it a head start so that things don't have to work as hard in here. But there goes the garlic and the pecans. And I think what we'll do is let's just buzz those up a little bit before we add the remaining ingredients. Let's pulse them. And you can see they're starting to break down, and then that's good, because that'll let them combine with everything else a lot easier that way. And like I said, if you have chopped pecans, by all means use those, and even then you might want to break them up a little bit. Okay, let's talk about the olives. So the recipe calls for 8 ounces of pitted Kalamata olives. When you buy them, olives are a little funny. This says 12.3 ounces net weight, but drained weight is 6.3 ounces. Of course, a cup is 8 ounces, which is basically what I have here, which is basically what this jar gives me. So I would just say, take the olives out, put them in a 1 cup measure and pack them in there, and that would how you measure the olives. I check every single pitted olive before I use it. And if you don't, actually, when you put them in the food processor, if there's a pit that slips by in there, you'll be able to hear it hitting the blade. On rare occasion, I don't know how they make these pitted olives, but they'll miss one. So just give them a squeeze. Make sure that what you're putting in there doesn't have any pits in there, and you're all good to go. I do drain, although you saw a little liquid coming out there. These have been sitting a few minutes, so maybe that just came from inside those olives, but I do drain them and I do rinse them when they come out of the can. So I don't use any of the liquid that's in here. So that's the olives. And then feta cheese. A 1/2 cup of feta cheese. So that was a cup of olives, a 1/2 cup of feta. Feta, depending on where you buy it and what kind you buy, it can have a pretty strong taste. I would not substitute out any other cheese for this. I don't think another cheese would work. I think it works really well from a taste standpoint and a consistency standpoint with the feta. I use reduced fat feta, just because that's what I do, but you could use, of course, full fat feta. You could use a cube. It comes in cubes. You can just slice it up. 4 ounces is what the recipe calls for. So we'll put that in there. All right, and then the last thing is 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So again, use a good olive oil and So start out with the 2 tablespoons. If you're gonna see that if the spread is too thick, you might want to add a little bit more after you buzz it together, but let's start with the 2 tablespoons and see where we go. All right. And that, my friends, is that. Easy breezy. So let's buzz this up and take a look at what we've got. I will open it and scrape down the sides as we go along. And this is where you can kind of look at it and determine right away if you need more olive oil. This is looking a little bit dry to me. I don't know if you can see it, but you can see it's really not, it's together, but it's not coming together into a nice spread. So I think I'm gonna just add a little touch more, not a lot, because once you put it in, you can't take it out. So just a tiny bit more. Let's see if it comes together better. Yep, that looks better. So that little bit of extra olive oil really helped the situation in here. We'll scrape down the sides one more time. And I'll show you what the finished product looks like. We'll get it out of the processor into a nice bowl or a jar. This will last in the refrigerator quite a long time, as you can imagine, especially if your cheese is nice and fresh. But it'll last probably at least a week if in the fridge. That's if nobody doesn't eat it all up before then. That looks great. So let's take a look. Pull out a nice spoonful for you to see the consistency. Well, you can see that it holds together nicely. See? But yet it's a nice creamy consistency. You can see little flecks of the cheese in there. That's okay. If you want to, you can, buzz it a little bit more so that it really becomes, you can get rid of those flecks if you want to keep going with this. But basically, I have a little cracker here. We can make ourselves one. I'll show you what it looks like when it spreads. You can see it holds to the spreader really nicely. The nuts help. And there you have it. Kalamata Caviar. So, fun name. I would say kind of from far away because of the consistency of it. It could look like caviar, but it's made out of olives. So let's take a taste here and I'll let you know how it is. That's good. You can definitely taste the garlic. I'm glad I didn't put more. Of course, the olives come through and as does the cheese. Yeah, well, it's very simple. So, I will take this out of the food processor, get it in a nice bowl, show you what that looks like. And hopefully you can make some Kalamata caviar for your family or your friends real soon. So again, from my recipe box to yours, Kalamata caviar, enjoy it.